It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Conversations with Joan. Conversations with Joan will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, Conversations with Joan. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Conversations with Joan focuses on topics that are important to your life, from health and wellness to professional development to personal well-being. Change makers join me to share their insights, tips, and strategies so you can thrive and live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. Now, let's start talking. Today's guest, Mike Dooley, believes that life is magical, that we are powerful, and that dreams really do come true. He has made it his mission to remind people of this every day. Mike is a former PricewaterhouseCoopers international tax consultant turned entrepreneur. He is best known for his free Notes from the Universe emailings, social network postings, and his New York Times bestsellers, Infinite Possibilities and Leveraging the Universe. Mike was one of the teachers in The Secret, and his inspirational books emphasize spiritual accountability. Mike's new book is A Beginner's Guide to the Universe, Uncommon Ideas for Living an Unusually Happy Life. Welcome, Mike. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Joan, for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you.
So, Mike, I have to start this conversation by asking, how does a person go from being an international tax consultant to a man who teaches about spirituality and messages from the universe?
You know, I think I have to point the finger at my mother. She was British and stiff upper lip and all that a British attitude normally entails, including lots of order, lots of discipline. And that was kind of what led me to go into accounting. You know, I thought, hard work, early bird gets the worm, be prepared, have the background, do the schooling. But she also had an esoteric, intangible kind of unicorn and rainbow attitude, which is so bizarre. And I know that the sense that she gave me growing up that sticks with me to this day is that, all things are possible. And if you want it, you can have it, you can do it, you can be it. Dreams come true. God helps those who help themselves. She was a pretty traditional Catholic until maybe I was around 20. And that kind of led to a search for spirituality without religion, which opened up a lot of doors and windows and possibilities and kind of synced it all together. So I got my accounting degree, but I wanted to be an entrepreneur with an accounting degree under my belt. And after 6 years with PricewaterhouseCoopers, I did that. I joined her and my brother, and we launched a T-shirt company selling his designs that ended up being coupled with my inspirational quotes about dreams coming true. And we had an amazing 10-year run, at the end of which we bought Mom out. The T-shirt business was more difficult than when we had started, so we kind of split the pie, and I took the database, the website, with an agreement, and began sending out my writings instead of just putting them on T-shirts, putting them in inspirational emails, which turned into Notes from the Universe, which is the core of what I do to this very day, sending out inspirational message to people, for free by email.
In this time of transformation, in really, I would call freeing yourself, because I was a lot like you are. I was raised an Italian Catholic and very, play it safe most of my life. I did everything that was expected of me, went to college, raised a family, just towed the line, played it safe. And my life literally had to fall apart for me to get an understanding of what life is really about and just how powerful our thoughts are. So from your transition, from that person who, played it more on the safer side and did what was expected, how has your life changed from that person to where you are today?
Oh, so profoundly. And I hate to think that, our examples might make people people feel like their life needs to crash before it rises.
Right.
I really ardently teach otherwise. You don't have to experience every form of contrast. You don't have to go through all that you hate to find out what you love, so to speak. For me, gosh, it went from doing what I felt like I had to do to doing what I most wanted to do. Although the transition was so tricky, because when the old me kind of stopped living, it was like, okay, now what? What is it? What is my dream? And I think if anybody, you probably know too, is on the path of doing what they should do, you become desensitized and you don't even know anymore what it is you really want to do. You know, all the money in the world will not make you happy. Everybody knows that. My uncle would say, you know, well, it sure helps, but it doesn't do the trick. And in the end, without something to do that you enjoy, nothing is anything. And so that was true for me. I didn't know what the life of my dreams was when this kind of transition happened. So as I advise audiences now, assess your sucky options, give yourself a deadline, and choose the least sucky. You know, the 3 least sucky, because then at least you're reachable. Of course, have dreams. I teach people to how to dream of abundance and not get embroiled in details or mess with the cursed hows, thereby giving divine intelligence, if you will, free latitude to connect the dots for you in the quickest, happiest way. But in the beginning, you're taking steps down a dirt path that is not the life of your dreams and wanting it to turn into the yellow brick road. And it will, but stop watching it, roll up your sleeves, be present, do the best you can with what you've got from where you are, and then the transformation begins. The phoenix takes flight.
And I agree with you, because I, in this line of work, happen to meet a lot of people whose lives fall apart and then they reinvent. But you're right. The key is to become aware while you're living your life. You don't need to fall apart to reinvent
Totally.
or to recreate. And that's really when the awareness comes in. That's the key.
Yeah, you have to be self-aware. There's a note from the universe that's in my, it's in several books, and it says something to the effect of enlightenment is not delivered to those so ready. It is summoned by those so ready. You know, it just doesn't land on your head from the sky. You have to summon it, and it can come to anybody who summons it, but you have to have the wherewithal to say, hey, maybe there's something I'm missing. Hey, maybe there's more to life. Hey, maybe I could view relationships or healing or fulfillment or creativity or service in a new, bolder way that would enhance my life. You know, and if we don't ask that question, if we don't summon it, then until we get to that place of enlightenment, to greater knowing, we will stub our toes. We will fall. We will go down, and sometimes in a blaze of glory. It's the dark night of the soul. It's the life crashing and burning. But that can all be avoided when not only are we challenged, but when things are going well, yet we ask and ponder and have some introspection and say, you know, where else can I take my game up? What else can I know about God? And to me, that would lead somebody on a spiritual quest, not a religious quest. I think the two words, the two concepts, religion and spirituality, don't necessarily go hand in hand.
Right.
But until you get to that place, you know, you belong to a religion perhaps, and that means you're in an exclusionary practice, and half of the world is not going to go to heaven, and blah, 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 and you don't even realize that you're creating bars around your life and keeping people out and keeping love in, and that will either come about as a fall, that you are invited to look within and expand your definitions, or it'll come about when you just ask, does this make sense? Does this serve all people? Does it empower all people? Does this concept speak of life's beauty? And when the answer isn't a clear yes, there's something else to learn.
Mike, your brand is around thoughts become things. Mm-hmm. How do you believe thoughts shape our lives?
Well, the best analogy is that of a nighttime dream. I think nobody would question that our nighttime dreams, when we're sleeping in bed, are pure thought. But also, I don't think anybody would disagree that for the person having the dream with sweaty brow and racing heart, to the person having the dream in the moment of the dream, it's real. It's total reality. You're reacting to it. You're going to remember it occasionally in the morning. You're going to learn lessons from it. You're going to be inspired or terrified by it because to you in the dream, it is real. But yet, on the outside of the dream, it's easy to say, it was just your imagination. The lions and tigers and bears and Romeo and Juliet, they were figments of your imagination. You created them. You projected them, but you hid from yourself that you were creating them on the fly so that whatever the purpose of the dream was could be achieved. And when I give that talk, I'm never speaking to the purpose of a particular nighttime dream, only that there is one. You know, the scare tactics, the shock learning, the practicing of arguments, or whatever it is that comes from the dream. I think, contemporary psychologists would tell you work gets done in the sleep state, in the dream state. We orchestrate it. We create it. We hide from ourselves that we're creating it so that the objectives, whatever they may be, will be met. But it is just a dream. And so when I say thoughts become things, just like our thoughts literally will create lions and tigers and bears in our nighttime dream, or wonderful things in our nighttime dreams, or the car we drive, or the gravity that holds our dreaming body to the street as we walk down it in a nighttime dream. I mean, there's gravity, there's math, there's physical laws in our nighttime dream. Who creates all that? We do. Just like we created here. And the hows of it is not so important as just a simple recognition that we are all creators, divine creators of God, by God, pure God, and therefore we can create intentionally, and we can have more good days than quote-unquote bad days. We can have more love than have hate. We can have more health than sickness. And whatever else your heart desires, you can have it. This is the basis of thoughts becoming things, of dreams coming true, of believe and you shall receive, and all the wonderful things that we tell kids and that we were told as kids about how awesome life can be.
And I think, Mike, that there's this awakening, there's this shift that's taking place because we've spent so much time looking externally to fulfill us and to complete our lives, but by understanding what you're talking about, we can learn to go within. We're so powerful when we understand that we create the life that we want.
Oh, yeah. We are it. Really and truly, when you look around, you realize that life is made up of you and more you. There's like only you. Mm-hmm. And now that doesn't mean there's not other people and perspectives, but in the truest sense, we're all of the same spiritual family. And in the truest sense, we're all of one. We're one. We're God. We're all different windows through which God experiences and creates reality. The Joan perspective of God and the Mike perspective of God, and everyone is of God, by God, pure God. If not, what would they be made of? Non-God stuff that was left in the shed? Whose shed? Where did the shed come from? It's all God, and that is the power. And if you're looking to the world around you, like you just alluded, and people do, this is exactly the forbidden fruit. This is the metaphorical story of the Bible. The holy books all hint to this because we've been looking for answers, and they're attainable. When we ask these questions, we attract the answers. But the forbidden fruit is looking at the apple and not seeing it anymore as the thought form, the projection that it is, that it clearly must be, and suddenly thinking that it's so real that you bite into it. And, you nourish your body with it. And now it's not of you, it's not from you, it's not by you. It's an apple, man. It's an apple. I picked it from the tree. It's not me. It's different. And I'm going to bite it. And eating the forbidden fruit is looking to the illusions of time and space, money, homes, cars, all of those things that are so distracting, and thinking that they are reality, and then reacting to them, completely losing sight of the fact that you are a co-creator of that apple tree and those apples. You are the perceiver and creator simultaneously, like in a nighttime dream, and not seeing that, you lose the connection. the awareness, the knowledge, the comfort that you are a creator, you are part of source energy, and thereby you lose that connection, so to speak. You deny yourself that ability to shape your future because you ate of the forbidden fruit. You committed the original sin, not realizing that everything comes from within.
So then, what you just described, would that be when we attach unimportant details to our dreams?
Yeah, that's exactly what that means. And that's, as you obviously know, one of my core teachings. I teach that when you want to begin living deliberately, and this seems contradictory to a lot of focus that's taught out there about being a deliberate creator, a manifester. I teach that ideally your dreams ought to be generally stated. For example, dreaming of wealth and abundance, opulence, that's an awesome dream. Whereas dreaming of $1 million by the end of summer, those are unimportant details. A life of wealth and abundance implies total freedom when it comes to spending. It implies a continuing replenished source. It implies that the details and the timing have worked out on their own. But when you start micromanaging with dates and deadlines and dollar amounts, and you want so-and-so to behave in such and such a way, and you want your kids to make their bed in the morning, and you want your boss to give you a raise, and you want your spouse to give you respect, now you're micromanaging, and you're giving away your power to not only other people, which is like one of the surest dead ends, because you can never make or manipulate people into loving you, respecting you. Sometimes you'll have a hit. But people in my audiences aren't there because they want sometimes hits. They want all the time successes. So in that case, imagine happiness, the ultimate end result. Imagine health, not pain removed from my back. Even if you have pain in your back, the way to remove it is to focus on overall big picture health. And then let the details, the timing, everything else sort out with all of your other dreams and their priorities and all of your other challenges and what you're learning and need to learn to make this happen. And then you're good to go. So don't eat of the forbidden fruit. Don't micromanage the manifestations in your life, because invariably all details are a dime a dozen, and invariably they're attached. Different details are attached to different people and or different paths. And when you attach to a person or a path, you slam shut the door on all other possibilities, all other people, or all other pathways. And why would you ever want to limit divine intelligence? And this doesn't mean you can't move to a place where there won't be $1 million or Roxanne falling in love with you or the pain in your back gone. You can. But that's not the goal anymore. The goal is bigger, better, further along. The goal is harmony and splendor and joy and laughter. And those big picture values imply that all the little stuff shakes out and is taken care of automatically, and so it shall be. As you, of course, the other part of my teachings is show up with baby steps, even if it's down sucky paths in the beginning. And I like to remind people, as others have, that it's always a dirt road that leads to the diamond mine. And for me, the dirt roads have turned in literally to the yellow brick road of my life, and it's like, I look down and I pinch myself. What did I ever do in my mortal flailings, riddled with self-doubt and insecurities, virtually my whole life long, to nevertheless be as successful as I've been as a teacher, as an author, as a husband, as a father. Not that I'm perfect, not that I'm not always striving to be better, but so much has come to me. And this is how I started out. I had big dreams. I didn't limit divine intelligence by trying to micromanage or eat of the forbidden fruit or attach to unimportant details.
Mike, you teach people how to create a game plan and take action without messing with the cursed hows. What is a cursed how?
The cursed hows are us deciding how a big dream will come true. A big dream being, like I just said, wealth and abundance, friends and laughter, creative, fulfilling vocations, falling in love with the perfect person at the perfect time, all of those big value dreams. We've been taught, Joan, for as long as we've been crawling, that you better figure out how your dream's going to come true because no one's going to do it for you. God helps those who help themselves, and all of that stuff, to which much of it has relevance. But if you think your big dreams will come true by micromanaging, like this next book will be a bestseller, Oprah will love it, she'll put me on her show and everybody will buy it, and money will pour in, and I will help people with their lives, and I will live happily ever after. If that's what you insist upon and attach to because you misunderstand the law of attraction, or you misunderstand positive thinking, or you misunderstand the way divine intelligence works, and you're going to make people love this book because the universe is conspiring on my behalf and my thoughts become things. I mean, see, people do this. They grab onto great pieces of advice, but they apply them poorly. And if you insist on this is the book, it's going to happen, it might not be that book. You can't make people love that book no matter what kind of thoughts you are thinking. You can imagine success, but let the universe figure out how the success comes. You can pursue your bliss. If it's writing, write more books. It might be your third book. It might be your 14th book. It might be your first book. We're not excluding anything with this approach. But as soon as you say it must be this, and then it's not that, you wonder what went wrong. You wonder what your invisible, limiting, self-sabotaging beliefs are. You wonder if this is a test that God is imposing upon you. You wonder if maybe you're not worthy yet. Maybe you're not ready yet. Maybe this is a question of divine timing. And now you have torn yourself to shreds, jumped to some false conclusions that weren't even true to begin with, but now you've jumped to them. Now they are contending with other limiting beliefs that you perhaps did have, and now you need a team of people to undo it, all because you tried to micromanage a pathway where there was a better pathway that would have brought you success and joy and happiness and friends and laughter and healing so much faster and so much more naturally, in alignment with gifts you didn't even know you had, but that were soon to be revealed. You can't have any of that now because you insisted on pathway X, or you insisted that Bruno would fall in love with you, or you insisted that that company would recognize your greatness and give you the corner office so you could lead the forces to stock market stardom. And because of those insisted paths, or I call them hows, because you thought you had to figure out how your dream would come true. And then you put all of your eggs in that basket. But yet that basket was embroiled with certain other people having to approve of you. Publishers, agents, readers, board members, or that how was contingent on certain bells and whistles showing up, or that how was contingent on anything else because you've insisted upon it. Or maybe other dreams of yours would block that how, but you didn't see the conflict. Now that how is a no-go, but because you put all of your eggs in that basket, the other better, quicker ways are not available to you anymore. So here's what I tell people. There will always be a how your dream came true, and there will always be specific people in your life that participated in how your dream came true. And there will always be cool, sexy details in your life. There's nothing wrong with hows or specific people or details until at the outset of a journey, we say these must show up then. Now we're giving our power away to these outer circumstances, to these other folks, and if they don't march to the beat of our drummer, not only will a dream not come true, but because we didn't try or seed any other pathways, there's no other way it could come true. And then we think, well, God's angry, or God's testing us, or it must be bad karma, or is whatever, none of which was true. But now you've given all of your power away, and you slump into depression. It's like, stop micromanaging. And one more point of clarity on cursed hows. A cursed how is a cursed how, not by virtue of what was done. It doesn't matter what you do. That doesn't mean it was a cursed how. It might have been a potential how. There's nothing wrong with potential hows. It becomes cursed when you attach to it and insist upon it. If you I have to have that corner office. I have to have Mary fall in love with me. I have to have, this miracle cure, whatever. Now you're attached to it. Now you've excluded other possibilities. Now it's going to be a sometimes success at best, and it could be a total non-starter. Whereas if you just insist on joy, you insist on health, you insist on abundance, now the path that you thought was how is still on the table. We're not excluding anything. We're just creating possibilities and leaving room for even better than we knew to ask for at the outset. So a cursed how is cursed when you insist on that's how my dream's going to come true because the universe loves me and there's a law of attraction.
The book is A Beginner's Guide to the Universe, Uncommon Ideas for Living an Unusually Happy Life. If you'd like to get more information about Mike and his work, you can visit tut.com. That's T-U-T, tut.com. Mike, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing lessons that you've learned and for reminding us about the power of our thoughts. As you say, the universe talks and thoughts become things. So thanks for being here.
It was a pleasure, Joan. Thank you very much.
This is Conversations with Joan. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
How much can the right foods do for you?